Brooke is the new head of household. Who will she nominate for eviction? Find out now on Big Brother Cheesecake 7 Chocolate Heaven. Hello, I'm Andrew Shevsik Moonves. Welcome to Big Brother Cheesecake 7 Chocolate Heaven. It's day 71 inside the Big Brother Cheesecake house, and we are down to the final five. Owen, Jenna, Brooke, Michael, and Javier. And Brooke is the head of household, securing her a spot in the final four. Who will she nominate for eviction? We'll find out shortly. But first, one thing I've noticed in the last few episodes, and this is really funny, around day 45-ish, I said that I'm going to try to make the episodes shorter because I've been going to 20 minutes and 20 to 25 minutes, and that's too long. And I looked at the last 6 days, and it's all 30-minute episodes, and I'm like, well, I failed at that plan. But it's just because this season is so entertaining, and I usually find myself, I don't want to say bored, but I usually find myself getting a little bit less entertained towards the end. And we're in week 11, and I'm not bored at all. In fact, I'm still not totally sure who's going to win the game. I have a hierarchy, but I can't lock in who's going to win. Although the alumni is convinced that one person is definitely winning the game. Which brings me to my next topic, which is a lot of people were wondering how the hell Owen survived yesterday's tribal council. And I can give a little bit of insight, because yesterday after the eviction, once I removed Rayanne from the group chat, the five remaining house guests revealed to me that they were part of a secret underground alliance that didn't really have an official name, but they referred to it as the Five, also the Family, and Sleeper Cell. So what happened is these five house guests, the final five, from around the time that Kilby was evicted, I think it was right before Kilby was evicted, which makes sense because that's why, if anybody was thinking that the virus comp was a little weird, that Brooke managed to win that and so many people were helping Brooke, now it all makes sense because Brooke was in this family or sleeper cell or whatever you want to call it. I don't like that it doesn't have an official name, by the way, but we'll get back more into that in a second. So we should just call it In Sync. Okay, so Brooke, so it would have been before Brooke won head of household, so it was just before Kilby was evicted. And what makes this alliance unique is that they were operating in one-on-one chats. They did not have an official group chat. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Kat, Curtis, Rai, the usual suspects, all think that they had a group chat and they did not include me in it. I don't believe that these five people had a group chat and did not include me. That's a huge risk because all it takes is for one person to rat them out. And surprise, none of you are playing in HOHs until the final four. But I do find it odd. I suppose the reason they didn't do it is because they didn't want to risk myself saying it in the episode. But Mbop last season, I don't think I specifically said their name, and it was kind of obvious that those four were steamrolling through the house. At least that's what I thought. I will say as well, I'd be curious to see this alliance in its infancy stages, like to see the screenshots of it forming, because it is difficult. I've played orgs many times, 34 times, and it's difficult to coordinate plans, even with a group chat. So without one, it must have been difficult, and I don't know what they were so afraid of. But that's the scoop that I got today, that Brooke, Jenna, Owen, Michael, and Javier were in a Final Five alliance. They refer to it as the Five, also the Family, and also Sleeper Cell. I'll be honest, I don't like any of those names. So come up with something better. Like, you could have come with Five Alive. That is a delicious beverage. And you came up with the Family? So that explains, getting back to my original point, how Owen managed to, not get evicted yesterday, because a lot of the alumni thought, well, this is the chance. He's wide open. He's vulnerable. He's not wearing a cup. Let's get him. And he only got the one vote from Rayanne, which is interesting because last season, there's been a trend this season and last. Karen on Extra Whip and throughout the whole season was given a positive light. A lot of the House guests that came in said Karen's got to go or she's going to win. Karen is playing the best game. And Owen is kind of being described similarly by myself and everybody on Extra. Not to the same extent as Karen. People were really pushing Karen last season. It's a bit lower this season with Owen. But he's in that same position. Karen ended up third. We'll see what happens with Owen this season. So, yeah, that's the alliance. Now they have to obviously untangle, unravel, and destroy each other, which I think will be interesting to watch. It also makes sense now that, a lot makes sense in terms of the Brooks HOH, why she made the decisions that she did. It's a lot clearer now because I thought it was extremely messy. And now it was still messy, but it wasn't as heavily so now that I know that this Five Alive, In Sync, whatever you want to call it. Can we just come up with a fucking name, please? Was in power. So yeah, a lot of things make a lot more sense now. And I apologize to the viewers and the fans and the alumni watching. I didn't know about this alliance, so there was nothing I could do. Which is a little, I have to say, a little on the, I wouldn't say disappointed, because I'm not disappointed, but a little on the lackluster side, because it kind of, I don't know, it kind of made it, I almost feel like I was watching Big Brother US, where the storyline, where if you're watching the live feeds do not match the storylines at all. Because the show that's scripted from CBS, not scripted, but the show that CBS produces doesn't really include the real narrative of what's happening actually live on the feeds. So that's kind of how I felt yesterday, that I wasn't really watching the same thing. And I've considered this since All Stars, I could force people to make one-on-one chats with myself so that I'm in all the one-on-one chats. But in the beginning of the season with 16 players, that's like well over 100, right? Yeah, it's about 150-ish one-on-ones. That's a lot of one-on-ones. I don't have the time for that. Even if I'm not playing any other orgs or doing anything or working or anything, it's a lot of work. So, it is what it is. I think, too, I'm biased because Mbop, which made the Final Four last season, was the greatest alliance, I would say, in Big Brother Cheesecake history. And I got to watch every single week their plans unravel and unfold and see the moves that they made. So I wouldn't say disappointed is the right word, because I think that's aggressive of a word. I would say I'm just a little perplexed. There was something else I wanted to say about that. So Owen, right after Rayanne, I think it was before Rayanne was evicted, but I don't think she saw this. Owen said, and I don't have the direct quote, so I am a little bit ad-libbing here, but he said, are you ready for this? "Bye, Rayanne. I love you. I'm glad that this was the week you voted correctly and not in the double eviction." Which means that Owen, and clearly now everybody, knows that Kennedy and Rayanne, the week of the double eviction, did not vote in the format, I vote to evict Owen. And because of that, their votes were reversed. I think one of them said, I'm voting Owen, and the other one said, my vote is Owen. I can't remember the specifics, but the word evict was not there. And like I said, and I said it multiple times, I've said it for 7 seasons, I already had the whole falling out with the pro Ronnies when it happened. And so, unfortunately, that means that their votes were randomized between Stephanie and Cly, and the coin, which I flipped, both landed on Cly, which is why Cly ended up with 4 to Stephanie's 3 to Owen's 1. So I asked Owen, and he said that he was not specifically told by anybody that they voted wrong, but he just figured based on their reactions, the way they were acting the night before he was supposed to be evicted, their reactions of anger the day he stayed, and just the little clues and hints that I've dropped about, a controversial eviction and whatnot. And the fact that I think the following week I basically yelled, "You must vote in the format. I vote to evict." I think those little things tipped him off. But Kennedy and Rayanne, their plan, which I got to give you credit, Kennedy and Rayanne, if you're watching, you had a great plan, which was to pretend that you did vote Cly intentionally and that you were with Owen. Now, Owen didn't buy that, but that was a good idea. And I think it's a real. I mean, on the one hand, it's a shame obviously for Kennedy Rayanne. On the other hand, it's one of those iconic, bottom of the ninth inning, you're down by 3 and you get a grand slam moments. It's also funny how in Big Brother, Canada, US, and Cheesecake, there is always a moment. Not always, because last season, what was last season's moment? I kind of feel like last season didn't have as distinct of a moment, but there are some seasons that have a distinct moment where the momentum of the entire season shifts from a certain group of people to another group of people. Sometimes it's not a clear moment or a really important moment. Sometimes it's an earth-shattering moment. So I always reference season 4 when Kat stupidly threw the Topaz Power Veto to CJ in the double eviction. CJ stayed. She used her Emerald Power Veto to veto Rai Rai's HOH win. Lindsay becomes HOH in the random draw, and Lindsay takes out Rai Rai, and that sets the stage for every other eviction after that. And it's what started, I think that's where Brazil, Nick, and Lindsay started their glue, which then took them to the end. And that moment, and I'll never forget, I pulled up to Kat's house to deliver Cheesecake Factory during COVID. I delivered her Cheesecake Factory dinner, because she lives right by Cheesecake Factory. And she said, "I threw the veto to CJ. I'm so smart. Ha ha ha." And in my head, I'm thinking, I don't know. Because even then, I didn't like it. And this time, that's the moment. If Kennedy and Rayanne had typed in to me, "I vote to evict Owen," even if one of them typed it, and the other vote went to Cly, it would have been... No, then Owen would have still stayed. It would have been 4-3-2. No, 3-3-2. If the other vote went to Stephanie by random draw, then it would have been 4-2-2. And Kilby would have broken the tie and would have evicted Owen. So let's go with both. If both Kennedy and Rayanne had voted, "I vote to evict Owen" in the double eviction, Owen would have been evicted, Cly would have stayed. Who the hell knows what would have happened with her? And the entire second half of the season could have been drastically different. And that's part of the beauty of this game. That one little thing, one tiny thing, can drastically alter the course of events. Two great examples of this, and this is not a spoiler, but if you're way behind on Big Brother 24, like 2 weeks behind, then stop watch or fast forward if you're 2 weeks behind on Big Brother 24. The HOH that Turner won with the button pushing thing where they had to sit down in the musical chairs, the final two in that competition was Turner and Amira. And Amira just barely by a split second lost to Turner, and Amira was evicted last week, and the Leftovers was formed. So a huge plot twist of Big Brother 24 happened because of that. Another one, a very simple one, May 31st, 2000. The very first episode of Survivor. Sue Hawk decides to vote out Sonia instead of Rudy. If Rudy had one more vote, Rudy would have been voted out first, and that entire season could have been completely different. And Richard Hatch may not have been the first winner 22 years ago. So it is crazy how one tiny thing can change everything. And that was the moment this season. And every season has that moment, but some seasons it's not as clear-cut. Like I would say season 3 of Cheesecake didn't really have a moment where the momentum shifted. Yeah, you know what? I guess maybe not. Maybe not every season. Season 6, I was going to say when the Savers decided to evict Jit instead of Steven, that would have been the moment because Steven would have been gone at that point. So yeah, so most seasons have a moment. Season 5 is when Jonathan won the Diamond Power Veto and used it to knock Joanne out, and the old farts ended up getting voted out then. Season 2, I can't remember the specifics. I'm going to say season 2 was also the week that Joanne was evicted. So Joanne was the pivotal vote twice, because that's what put Chanel and Ashley kind of on the outs with everyone, and they had to claw their way and win their way to the end. And season 1 was, of course, 3 people quitting. That drastically helped Jeffrey when 3 people from the other side of the house quit. Okay, great. I went 15 minutes. Fabulous. Okay, so I'm not going to do the rules to the next head of house or to the next Golden Power Veto competition because it is a classic competition, but I don't want anybody to practice or to strategize. I'd rather you go into this blindly. So a reminder that the Golden Power Veto competition is tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. It is on Messenger. So yeah, normally this competition, I believe I've said the rules prior to the competition every time I've ever played it. This time I'm going to leave it. Yeah, so we'll see how that affects things. Okay, so the hidden immunity idol. So everybody wants to know where this hidden immunity idol was, and I'm not going to tell you. I will tell you that Brazil was closest, but Brazil also had all the clues, so that doesn't even really count. Throughout the season, if you were evicted, you got to bequeath a clue to the whereabouts of the hidden immunity idol to the house guest of your choice. And I think with Shawnee and RJ not showing up on Extra Whip, that delayed the hidden immunity idol a lot. There were 2 episodes in the beginning of the season where I held the chocolate bar backwards for Extra Whip. Nobody caught that. That would have been a clue to the idol. Oh, sorry. Javier got 1. I did it 3 times. For Shawnee, for RJ, and then Clyde didn't show up, so I did it for Clyde. Javier got the Clyde one. So he got a clue for that. And the first 2 for... and Brazil also made a big face when I did this. She was like... again, nobody caught it. I will say as a whole, this season has been fantastic, but the 16 of you collectively have been terrible at finding the extra bonus stuff. Like, just horrific. The alumni has been laughing at you. When you get added to the alumni chat, scroll up to get, days and days of people making fun of the fact that you can't find anything. It was to the point where it was so bad that it was funny. So we can all laugh at ourselves. The last week, Kennedy was evicted. I guess I shouldn't say, in case the house guests don't know. Kennedy did bequeath a clue to somebody. And the 3 clues that everybody had were berry compote, lava, and vanilla ice cream. There were 2 clues remaining, an A and a C, that were the most pivotal clues. The A was adventure, and the C was Chop's Grill. So I'll give everybody a day, alumni, fans, house guests, and if anybody finds it, you get a smile from me. I don't know. I've given away so much crap this season that I can't give any more prizes away. Actually, now that I think about it, I really haven't given away anything. Just a brain hemorrhage is basically all you've gotten. But yeah, there's no prize. It's out of play. It has no power. But those are the clues. Adventure, berry compote, Chop's Grill, lava, vanilla ice cream. Midway through the season, somebody accidentally almost stumbled on the idol. I even said in the alumni chat, somebody's outrageously close to finding it. It didn't matter. This person is still in the game. And I even took a screenshot of it. It'll be in tomorrow's episode. Somebody came so close. And then I added a clue because of that. So something happened in the middle of the game, and I added a clue. So if nobody can find the idol by tomorrow, I will give you that clue tomorrow, which is Thursday. And then if absolutely nobody gets it by Friday, then I'll just tell you. I'll admit it was difficult, but like Endure and like other orgs, I wanted to make it challenging to find the idol. I didn't want it to be something ridiculously easy. I didn't want it to be in the background here. I didn't want it to be hidden in a Facebook message or in the Big Brother. I'm sure some people looked in the Big Brother Cheesecake org Facebook group. I didn't want to do that. Okay, so before we get to the nomination ceremony, Brooke, it is time for your second HOH bedroom of the season. Oi! It's me, Brooke, aka Mel B. Andrew's been talking about garbage for the last 20-odd minutes. Oh, when is he gonna shoot the fuck up? Anyway, Join me up the stairs in the head of household bedroom. I'm going camping this weekend, so in true camping fashion, we're going to walk on hot coals to get up to the HOH bedroom. Hot, 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 hot. Ooh, those were hot. Okay, like David Beckham. David Beckham is so hot. Okay, here we go. Ooh, look, chocolate-covered bananas. My husband's cook looks like a chocolate-covered banana. Okay, oh, the video is coming down for a message.
Hi Brooke, it's Hen here from the same season as you. Andrew asked me to make this. I'm sure this is just an excuse for him to hear what I'm saying and for my accent. But I am nothing if not an indulger. So hear me indulging. I'm very proud of you for making it so you have Final Four. You've beaten the original placement. It was all I ever wanted for you. Now just go and win this thing. I know you can do it. I know you've pulled some shit up, and I know you've played this game really hard. So I'm very proud of you in this game. I think you've done amazing. 10 times better than you did last time. So keep going, finish strong, and I'm sure you can do it.
Wow, Hearn! Oh my goodness, I miss you! And you're so funny! And you got a big heart! How'd you get such a big heart? Are you proud of me? Anyway, everybody, it's time for me to flick me clit to my husband, Paul! Get out! Okay, it is very fitting. Thank you, Hearn, for submitting that. First of all, when Hearn said Hearn here, I heard Hearn-hey. So I'm like, wait, is his name Herne? And I've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time. But no, he said Hearn here. So I'm like, woof, okay. That would have been so embarrassing if it was Herney. And I said Hearn the whole time. It's very fitting that Hearn submitted this video for Brooke. Because last season, Brooke and Hearn were both evicted in the double eviction. The double eviction came very late. It was from 6 to 4, week 11. And Hearn officially finished 6th and Brooke 5th. They actually were tied for number of eviction votes, tied for wins in the competition leaderboard. So it came down to how they did in the veto competition of that round, and Brooke just barely did better. So Hearn finished 6th and Brooke 5th. So it's fitting that this being the week that Brooke and Hearn were both evicted, Hearn is basically congratulating Brooke on making the Final Four and making it further this season than he did. And Hearn, as always, I love you. Thank you so much for submitting that video. You are such a doll. And if one day you got to come across the pond, or I'll go there. You know, why not? He lives apparently like 20 minutes away from Sam William, another Orger, who I've been trying to get to play Big Brother Cheesecake for like eons. And he's like, I don't want to play for money because money makes me do crazy things. And I'm like, yeah, I saw you on OnlyFans. Anyway, it's time to get to the nomination ceremony. Oi, it's me, Brooke. This is really hard because we worked so hard for the 5 to get to the end. This was a really, really, really hard decision. But I made my decision and I hope there's no hard feelings. It was a hard decision to make. This does not reflect how I feel about you guys. This doesn't mean anything bad. This is strictly the move I believe is best for me game. I've loved working with you guys during the 5, but we've been through it all together. And I am so upset that I have to be the one to nominate you. I will reveal the 2 house guests who are safe and then the 2 nominees. Michael, you are safe. This leaves Jenna, Owen, and Javier. 1 of you is safe, 2 of you are nominated. Owen, you are safe. Which means Brooke has nominated Jenna and Javier for eviction. Here's what she has to say. Oh, I'm so sad. I don't want to nominate any of you. Oh, it's not funny. Oh, I'm really sadly don't to nominate Jenna and Javier. I love you both and I wish you both the absolute best in the veto. This nomination ceremony is adjourned. Who will win the golden power of veto? Find out tomorrow. And Friday, will they use it to save Jenna or Javier from the choppy block? Saturday is Extra Week where Rayanne will join Brazil, Nicole, and I to dish the dirt. And Sunday is the next live eviction and head of household competition, where another house guest will be evicted from the Big Brother Cheesecake 7 house, get a tummy ache from eating too much chocolate, lose their shot at the $700 cash prize, and we will find out the identities of the final 4. I'm Andrew Shevsik Moonves. Take care, and remember, if the diameter of your nipple is greater than that of a Reese's peanut butter cup, yes, you should put a shirt on. Good night.